Okay, we're gonna freshen up my client's color. It's faded. If you guys remember, she had red on the ends of her hair. So she still has a warm contributing pigment. Warmth. So I'm gonna work with the contributing pigment that I have before me, and I'm gonna give her a nice fun fall autumnish color. Another thing is when you're trying to determine what your contributing pigment is, especially at the bowl, because her hair has been shampooed, you want to try to get as much water out of the hair as possible because, as I told you before, water is a blocker. It will block whatever service you're trying to perform, whether it's color or another type of chemical or a conditioning treatment, whatever. Water is a blocker. Write that down. Remember that. So you want to try to get as much water out of the hair as possible because wet hair is darker than dry hair. Your hair may look one way wet, but when it's dry, it can be a tad bit lighter. So when you're working with color, you definitely want to know what you are working with so you can get the results you desire. And there's my contributing pigment. Okay, I've applied the color to her hair, and I have been literally standing here for like the last 5 minutes just massaging and manipulating it in her hair for the simple fact it's wet hair. And anytime you're working with wet hair, you want to make sure, like I said, water is a blocker, so you want to make sure it's towel blotted for one. Then for two, you want to make sure it's worked into the hair very good. So I think I got it in very good. So what I'm going to do now is sit her under a warm dryer for about 10 minutes, rinse her, condition her, and she's going to get her hair pressed. So stay tuned. I'll be back in a little bit. So while my client's processing, I'm going to show you the color I'm using. I'm using Spice Cognac by Clairol's Jazzing. You can use this right at the bowl. It's perfect for retouching highlights. You're just adding new dimension or a whole nother color to some previously lightened hair. Um, Again, I use that warmth that her hair already had present so I can get the desired results I'm looking for. Now, a little bit about jazzing. Jazzing is a semi-permanent color. However, it's considered a polymer color. Polymer. Polymer. It actually encapsulates each hair with like plastic tubings of color. It's kind of hard to remove. It pretty much has to grow off the hair. Because my client's hair, her color is growing down her hair very well because her hair grows pretty fast, I'm confident and comfortable using this type of color. Otherwise, I would have used like a Redken Shades EQ or a Paul Mitchell Demi, something to that effect. So this is the color we're using for her hair. It is Spice Cognac. Her hair is conditioning now, and I just did the color service at the bowl using some of the pre-lightened hair that she already had and the contributing pigment that was there in her hair. I used a semi-permanent color. We went over that already. And while I'm conditioning her, I decided to use, and I do this a lot when I do color like this, I use a color pigment conditioner. This time I use Color Plus Conditioner in copper because that's pretty much the color I'm trying to pull. Um, Forgive me for the cut bottle, but when it gets so low, the pump only works so much, and I like to get every bit out of the bottle. So this is something that you can do. Really quick services at the bowl. It's an upsell if you it's an upsell. Um, I normally don't use this brand, Cara Color, but I had it. My go-to brand, of course, is Color Celeb or Celeb Luxury. That's my go-to brand, but I didn't have it in the color that I needed for her, but I did have this one. This one just takes a little longer to work. Celeb Luxury, for me, works almost immediately, but this one takes for me, about 5, sometimes 10 minutes, just depending on the color you're trying to get. But look at that color, though. Look at that. Keep in mind when you're watching color process, keep in mind that wet hair is darker than light hair. So don't be fooled on what you see while the hair is wet. You have to take into account that wet hair is darker than dry hair. Alrighty, I'll see you in a little bit. Here's the outcome of her hair. nice and shiny, and the color is beautiful. Like I said, I took her from a hot red, faded hot red, to a nice autumn color. There is no oil in her hair. The shine comes from the tools and the product I use. The science of her hair plus the science of the tool and the products gives me the results. We'll get into that in another video.